All right. Good evening again. Oh, can't you believe it? Can you believe it? It is the first Thursday of 2021. Oh my goodness. Time has flies so fast. And so we're in the first Thursday. And you know what time it is? Because it is the first Thursday of the month. We have to come to you with the testimony broadcast presented by the Bible Patrolman. And so tonight is no different. I want you to call up a friend, start your watch party. We are live on Facebook, and you can go to YouTube and pick us up there at BiblePatrolman.com. Bible Patrolman, and you can ask someone to join you on this evening. You don't want to miss this evening broadcast. Boy, I've asked somebody to come and join me this evening, a good friend of mine. And so I want you to subscribe because you don't want to miss any of these broadcasts. You can go back and you can watch some of them, or we have some in the archive that we have done. People are telling me, Pastor Hyde, Bible Patrolman, this thing is wonderful. We are getting some good testimonies from these people. But I want to tell you how this thing got started. I was reading the Word of God. If you read there in the book of Revelation, the Bible in the book of Revelation, the last book of the Bible, and Revelation chapter 12 and verse 11. Verse 11 says, now they're talking, John is writing, and John says, and they overcame him. Who is him? They overcame the enemy by the blood of the Lamb and by what? The word of their testimony. And so I want to focus on the testimony. Friends, if you want to able to overcome the enemy, you have to what? Tell your testimony. And that's what we've been doing on this broadcast. Month after month, we've been bringing individual on this broadcast to share their testimony with you. And so tonight, I don't want to hold up. I don't want to take up all the time talking, but you need to get somebody on the line with you on tonight so that they can hear this testimony on tonight. And so without further ado, I want to invite you to hear my friend, brother Reginald Clark. I want to invite him to the program tonight. Brother Clark.
How are you
Right, I'm doing good. I'm glad that you were able to join us on tonight, man. Wow, this is people have been asking me this evening. Are you going to talk about finance? Are you they want to hear all kind of stuff, but I tell them this is testimony time. We may get in a little bit of finance towards the end of it, but I want you, because we start the new year. There are a lot of individuals out there who says, oh, in 2021, I'm going to start my new business. I'm going to do this. I'm going to get into it. So I want you to just walk us through. You are a well-established now businessman. You are over the P3 Financial. And so you are there, but people see you day to day, and they don't know the Reggie that I know. The testimony. And so tonight on this program, I want you kind of lay out for individual and just share your testimony from ground zero to where you're at now, and then we can go from there. The time is yours. Just go ahead and share your testimony with us.
I'll be glad to. Thanks for having me. Thanks for the opportunity to share this story, this journey that I'm on, and I'm actually prayerfully still on it and got a ways to go, but man, if I'd have to pick a starting point, I guess I would say, I would actually say it goes back to my college days, quite frankly. I was in my last year of school at the University of Memphis, and I was majoring in finance. And my college professor, his name is Floyd Tyler, matter of fact, it was the semester I was graduating. And he mentioned to me, just casually mentioned, have you ever considered becoming a financial advisor? And I remember me wondering, I was like, I wonder what that is. I had never even heard of it. So no way I could aspire to do it. So he told me about an internship at Prudential, and I checked it out. And that's kind of how I got into the profession itself. That was back in 96, I think it was. 96. And so that was the start. That was kind of the beginning. And then as I graduated, I went to work for MetLife after that. And it was actually at MetLife that I started a newsletter for my clients. And that newsletter, I named it the P3 newsletter because I wanted to help my clients plan, protect, and prosper. But you know what was funny about that? The manager that I had at the time, I mistakenly left one of the newsletters on the printer, and he saw it. And the next day, he called me to his office and kind of chewed me out for starting this newsletter. And he said, "Well, why are you doing that? You know, you don't need to educate them; you just need to sell them stuff." And I was like, "Wow, you know, that's not really what I want to do." You know, so yeah, I knew then. I had made up my mind at that point that I was going to leave and do my own thing. It still took me some while to do it. I had to make sure my ducks were in a row, which they never really were. But that was the start. And when I left there, and that was in 2002. So when I left there, that's when I started P3 Financial Group way back in 2002.
Wow, in 2002. And so how was it for you to launch your business? If somebody out there is listening on tonight, walk us through the process and what all involved, and were there any bumps in the road?
Oh, wow. I tell you what, you know, whenever you take a big jump in life, you're going to go down before you go up. That's just, you know, you go down, then you come back up. That's just kind of how that works. So when I left that night, actually, Ebony and I were just dating at the time. And she helped me pack up at MetLife. And I packed at night just in case I wanted to go back the next morning. my mind still 100% made up. But anyway, when I left, you know, all the paperwork and things like that to start a business, that's the easy stuff. But where it becomes difficult is when, you know, I'm sitting there in my apartment the next day, my townhouse over in Hickory Hill, the next morning, realize I don't have an office to go to. Now the rubber's meeting the road. So as at that point, my energy level is high. I'm typing up. I literally typed every word that go on my website. It literally came from my mind to my fingers, and I stayed up all night long typing up my website. And even when we got past that, now I had to meet clients. So it was at this time I called a client up. I say, "Hey, I want to meet with you." They say, "Well, can I come by the office?" I'm like, "No, don't worry about the office. I'll come to you." I didn't have an office. So I was meeting clients at, their house or Starbucks or wherever I could meet them. And then, kept trucking along to finally was able to get an office. But even then, I'm telling you, man, it was either feast or famine. Either I had, a couple of dollars or I was dead broke, most times dead broke. And being in this particular field, no one wants to work with a financial advisor that's broke. So you have the added pressure of trying to make money, but also not letting the world know that I'm still eating ramen noodles and things like that, trying to make it. So it was a little tough. I can tell you one time in particular, I was meeting with a client. I will never ever forget this. At this point, the office was over Poplar and 240 area. I met with a client. At that time, this prospect, she wasn't a client then, but she would have become the biggest client that I had gotten to date. So I met with her, sitting there telling her what she needs to do with her money. I'm really stone-faced, just laying it out for her. And she liked what she saw. She said she wanted to think about it. Well, when she left, I had to make sure she was actually gone. I really did. I had to make sure she was gone. Reason why, I didn't have a car yet. I had to walk home. And I wanted to be sure she could not see me walking home from Poplar 240 area back to Hickory Hill. So a lot of people don't know that story, but that is absolutely true. And I walked all the way back home. And after telling a person what they need to do with hundreds of thousands of dollars, I have to walk back to the house. So very humbling experience, but looking back now, I wouldn't trade all of that because, depending on how much time we're going to be sharing, I can share some more stories where it's not like it took straight off from there. I still had a long way to go, but it really built up my mental fortitude. And that's what you have to have. If anyone wants to go into business for themselves, you have to have Two things you're going to need: a relationship. If you never had a relationship with the Lord before, you sure going to get it now. That's one. And two, you're going to have some mental fortitude. I promise you, man, because you have to be willing to keep going when logic says it's time to stop.
Wow.
You have to be willing to keep going. Yep.
Man, so now walk us through, because man, praise God for what he has, and as I said, sometimes people see you, but they don't know the struggles that you have to go through to get where you at. All they see you now is that you're sitting in a nice office, you're driving a nice car. So walk us through now you're in an office. Now you have an office. Walk us through that time.
Okay, so one of the things that comes to mind. So now the clients are starting to, at this point, still I do have an office, but I have to make probably 100 phone calls out in order for the phone to ring back in maybe one time. So it's almost like 100 to 1. The phone, no one's calling, no one even has the number. This is in the days before social media. It wasn't any of that. So it wasn't, I couldn't go post my number, no, it was, you got to call. So 100 calls out to get one call back in. But I'm going to tell you another thing that happened. And this is where, and what I've learned is, when the Lord is clear that you're giving something everything you got, man, that's when he will really, really step in and kind of put what we call that super on top of your natural. And that's when things just really start to happen.
Wow.
I remember one time in particular, I'll never forget this. I was in the office, and this is a one-man office, and my fax machine, keep in mind, no one has the number really other than the calls I'm making. All of a sudden I receive a fax. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. So very excited, I grabbed the fax off, and it's a lady, it's from a lady who is responding. She says she's responding to something that I sent her. Well, I hadn't sent her anything. I called her up, and she said, well, yeah, she said, I think I talked to you about some retirement stuff. I promise you, I had never spoken to this lady a day in my life. And, she became a very good client of mine. She referred her niece to me. And, man, that thing just kind of mushroomed. But to this day, her and I, whenever we talk, we laugh about that because I realized it was complete divine intervention. I never called her, and she said she don't know how I got that fax. But it happened, and that really, really, really helped change the trajectory of what was happening. Because I'm telling you, man, it was a lot of dark days there.
Wow. For those of you who are just tuning in, I thank you for joining. This is the testimony broadcast. On today, we have Mr. Reginald Clark. He is the financial leader for P3 Financial. And so he's a plan, protect, and yes. All right. And so we want to thank him again for joining us on this evening. For it is not finished. It is not finished. Thank you again, Brother Clark, because he is my financial advisor. And I tell you, folks, he have a wealth of knowledge that he shared. But the thing that I want him to continue to share with you, sometimes you see people at the top, and when you see them at the top, you don't know what it took to get to the top. And so as we start 2021, there are individuals out there who says, I want to go into business, I want to be successful, but there have to be some work that is had to put in. And so tell us some of the groundwork, some of the work that you put in, Brother Clark.
All right. So as we continue to walk through this, I'm going to tell you something else that happened that was very another watershed moment. I remember being in my office again, and a lot of times, if I didn't have anyone to talk to, which most of the time I didn't, that's starting to get going. But I remember I was thumbing through Black Enterprise magazine, and I was just reading it and learning about all these other successful people, and I saw an article about a gentleman out of Jackson, Mississippi. No. He was out of Birmingham. A gentleman out of Birmingham who was a financial advisor who was doing very well at the top of his game. And, I probably read the article 5-10 times or so. And I said, man, I'm going to call this guy. So I got my nerve up, and I was like, okay, I'm going to call him. I'm sure he'll have some secretary take my number down, and maybe he'll call me back. and I had these questions ready for whenever he called back. And so I got my nerve up and I called him. I just said, I just want to reach out, introduce myself, and maybe he can teach me something. Well, I called, and to my surprise, they put me right through to him. I was like, oh, wow. So then they put me through to him. I started getting nervous, and I kind of told him what I was doing. And I said, well, I'm sure you're busy. He said, no, I can talk now. And man, that man talked to me, I know, maybe 2 hours on the phone, just giving me just knowledge and information. And I mean, he was just so willing to share. So, and I share that story. I say that to say this. One of the key things you need to do if you're interested in going into business, find you a mentor. Find someone that has walked that path. They don't necessarily have to have done the exact business that you're doing, but what they have, but you need someone who's traveled down that entrepreneur road, because they'll be able to teach you some things and give you some things that it's just like if I'm going to teach you how to swim and I've never been in the water, all my knowledge is just book knowledge. You need someone that's been in the water. So that made a huge difference. Finding a mentor, and then from there, I learned the value of just talking to people who had, again, people not in my field, people like Daryl Thomas and Melvin Jones, who's recently deceased, just different people who just took an interest in what I was doing and said, hey, you might want to do it like this, or you thought about doing it like that, So a business mentor, a mentor, period. Whether you're an entrepreneur or not, but if you're an entrepreneur, giving you a mentor will save years it'll knock years off your learning curve and help you not make some mistakes that you probably would have made. So that's one of the key pieces of advice I can give you, man. Find you somebody that you can talk to.
For a mentor. Wow, wonderful. Good advice. Other part now, as I said, we are in the office. Walk us through now who is surround you in the office now. Where you have matriculate from. First, you were meeting people probably at Starbucks. You were meeting them different place. Now you're in the office. Walk us through now what it is like now. You have surround you, because I've been to your office.
Yeah. So in 2009, that's when we first added on the tax service. And Ebony, that was our first attempt at kind of branching out a little bit. So what we would do then, Ebony, she was still working at Perkins, the Perkins restaurant headquarters. So she would go there and work. When she got off, she'd come over to do taxes. And then we moved, at that time we were at Quail Hollow. We moved on out to Cordova. And so I'm gonna tell you, so here's something that's key. This is another watershed moment. Because I was independent, which means, I didn't really answer to any other corporation. It was, P3 has always been independent. I learned that I was actually too independent, and I was keeping myself too far away from the flow of information. So I made a commitment. I said this year, it was the beginning of a year, I think it was around 2006 or 7. No, this is about 2010 or 11. I made a commitment. I said, I'm going to go to 4 advanced trainings this year. So I'm going to go each quarter, I'm going to go get some advanced training. So I was doing that, and I went, one of them was down in Dallas. I go down to Dallas, and it's about 400 advisors in this gigantic auditorium. And the guy that was up talking, he started teaching about a particular subject. And what he was teaching about, I had never heard of it before. But it just intrigued me so much that when we had a breakout session, I kind of followed him so I could cut him off at the pass. And I was asking him more about it. And he said, man, I tell you what, if you're really interested, I'm going to give you this other guy's name. And he's in Atlanta, and he trains financial advisors strictly on this. Gave me his name. I paid. I went down there. And the information I learned down there, it turned everything I thought I knew on its heel. And from that moment on, I'm, just being frank, my income took off. Another company reached out to me and said, hey, we see what you're doing. We want to help you build out an agency. So they pulled resources into the company. So at that point, we were able to add staff. We were able to bring on 3 more advisors. Ebony's tax practice took off, and it kind of mushroomed into a full-fledged accounting arm. So now we're out in Cordova today. I think it's 11. I think 10 or 11 people work there full time with us now. And let me tell you one more thing too. While I'm on that, in 2004, I decided, because I was still relatively young at the time, and I wanted to level the playing field. So in my line of work, the highest credential that you can get as a financial planner is a CFP, Certified Financial Planner. So I had to go back to school over at Christian Brothers. At that time it was a 2-day test, 10 hours. So I passed it first time. But when I passed that test, this is 2004, so I'm kind of jumping back a little bit. When I passed that test, another financial company reached out to me by phone call and sent a letter to my office. And they said, congratulations on this. We see what you did. We want to bring you on board to the tune of $75,000 a year. And keep in mind, at this time, I went back 2004. I am as broke as the 10 Commandments. I don't have any money, right? And I was tempted, man. I was like, man, that'll help out. Maybe I could go do that. Then I could come back and do my own thing and this and that. And I was talking to Ebony, and she was like, you could do it, but you're not going to be happy because that's not what you want.
Wow.
And I turned it down. And, the rest is kind of history. But what I'll say is this, and I definitely give God all the praise for this. Now my company is in a position to pay the salaries that they tempted me to come in to join in with. Now we're in a position to pay that. So, and I just thank God for that, for the vision and for the patience that he gave me, because I ain't gonna lie, it was very tempting to do that.
Wow. You said something, and one of the things that we don't want to even overlook is thank God for a good spouse.
Yeah.
Yes,
absolutely.
yes. Because you need those kind of encouraging words. So now you are in this office. Now you have 10 to 11 workers, people who you are responsible for. Yes. Walk us through that. How you go about, because now the responsibility is there. Now you have to make sure that these people get a paycheck at the end of the week or at the end of the month. Walk us through that.
Pastor Howard, you said something extremely key. You used the word responsible, and that is the most appropriate word that I would have chosen. It is a different type of pressure or responsibility to know that ultimately you're responsible for someone else providing for their family. It's and I tell people, it's one thing to sign the back of a check, but when you sign on the front of the check for somebody's payroll, that's a different type of feeling. So as we continue to add people on, so one of the things that even now what we do, we let the business dictate when it's time to bring someone else on. So for instance, what I mean by that is I can't just we just can't bring people on willy-nilly, but if there's something that has kind of morphed into a full-time job and one person can't seem to handle it, that's kind of that's my litmus test to say, okay, I need to hire somebody to do that specific job. So that's kind of the way we've approached that. But and it makes the responsibility of knowing that you're ultimately responsible for someone else's income. It makes me be very cautious, very careful about each move we make. Like even now, we at the end of our lease, and we've decided that we've outgrown this space that we're in. Praise God for that. But even choosing the next office space, you have to do you can't just do it just willy-nilly, because it's a lot of things you got to consider. So yeah, we got the staff now, very good team. What's crazy, here's what's crazy. So this is pre-COVID. We had a person visit our office, and they said, wow, so many black women. How do you have a whole company full of black women? Ain't nobody here fighting. Because as crazy as it sounds, I'm the only guy there full time now. So the rest are women, but it works, man, because we got an excellent team. We laugh, we have fun. And we just and we always, every Monday, anybody on the team can tell you, every Monday we start out with a prayer, and we always thank the Lord for the people he's blessed us to serve. That's if you want to make more money, you got to serve more people.
Wow. Say that again. Say that again.
If you want to make more money, you have to serve more people. That's serving. See, well, I should say earn money. None of us make money. Only people that make money work at a mint. The rest of us have to earn it. So if you want to earn money, is the byproduct of service. That's all money is. It's the byproduct of service. So we just very thankful for the people that we're able to serve each and every day, and we take that very seriously.
Praise God. Praise God. Praise God. Wow, man, you're awesome. You know, as God has blessed you, you started out from you when you graduate. Now you're in the office. Now you are providing for others. How do you go into new fields, or is it that you have reached a plateau?
No, great question. No. Haven't reached a plateau. Because there's so much, but I haven't reached a plateau, not by a long shot. But what I have learned to do is surround myself with people that are smarter than I am. So I know what I know, right? And I'm always learning, but I'm also smart enough to know that you know something that I don't know, and you're just as good as what you know as I am as what I know. So what I do is, as new things present itself, I learn enough so I can be conversational about it. But if I need to bring someone on with complete expertise in that area, that's exactly what we're going to do. So I don't have, and I tell my team all the time, y'all, you don't have to give me, I hate to say this publicly, but I'm not a detail-oriented person. I'm just not. I just kind of like to know, I just kind of like to take a global view of what's happening, but I just rely on other people and their expertise to fill in the gap. So yeah, so as a new something come our way, we we soak it up, and if we have to partner with someone, like right now, we get more and more requests for estate planning. Well, and estate planning is simply making sure your wills are together, trust and things like that. I could take another course. There's actually a certification I could get in estate planning. I don't want to do that. There's a very, very, very talented estate attorney here, Chastity Grice. I'll partner with her, and her and I will do some work together because that's her expertise. She knows that as well as I know financial planning. So, don't be scared to collaborate. That's another good point for anybody that's interested in being an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to collaborate. Find fruitful partnerships, and make some stuff happen that way as well.
Oh, praise the Lord, man! For those of you who are listening, you just joined us. This is the testimony show where we bring on individuals to share their testimony of what God has done for them. And today we have Brother Reginald Clark from the P3 Financial Office. The Lord has blessed him to come from the ground up. So now that he has 11 employees and God has just blessed him. But Brother Clark, it didn't finish there. It didn't stop there. It is still going. Tell us about how you have been blessed, because I know I don't want to take that cheese. I don't want to take that cheese.
Yeah.
Tell us about this book. Don't take that cheese. Walk us through that.
Okay, so the Lord did bless me to author a book. The title is called "Don't Take That Cheese," and it's basically dealing with there's a seminar that I was doing, and I still do it. And basically I make a very bold prediction, and I have facts to back me up. And it's simply this: taxes in this country are going to have to rise to an astronomical rate in order to keep us from going bankrupt. So with that information, you have to start planning things out based on your taxes being doubled or tripled. And so the book is around different things and steps you need to take. And I won't take the time here to prove it, but I promise you I can prove it beyond a shadow of a doubt that it's going to happen. So the book is around that concept, and the cheese that the book is referring to is the temptation to take a tax deduction now to pay taxes later. That's the cheese that's on the trap. The cheese is on the trap is tax savings, because there's really no tax savings. It's all smoke and mirrors. They promise you tax savings today so they can tax you later, because they also know, they being the government, know that tax rates will be higher much later. So basically, it's like they're saying, don't let me tax you on all your money now. Put a little bit away, let me tax you on it later. So that's the whole premise. But even that was and I'll tell you something about that too, Pastor. Even about that book, I had actually written that book, and it sat on my computer for about almost 2 years, just sitting there. And one of my financial advisors, Melanie Jones, she went to a conference, and she came back, and she was so fired up and enthusiastic. And at the conference that she attended, the lady was telling her, hey guys, y'all need to be getting your information out there and sharing this, that, and the third. You need to write a book, da, 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 da. And Melanie was telling us all of this. And I'm like, man, I got my book sitting on my computer. Let me do something with it. And so so we just charged for it with it, and not too long ago I saw it's being sold in Walmart, it's Barnes and Noble, Target. It's a lot of different places now. So again, the Lord just blessing, and we're just very excited about all that.
Wow. So your book can be tell us again where we can get those books.
Oh, you can get it at reginaldclark.com. You can go straight to my first name, last name, reginaldclark.com. Or you can get it at walmart.com or Barnes & Noble, Target. There's some more, almost pretty much anywhere books are sold now, you can find it.
Wow, man! Look at God! Look at God who can take you from the bottom and He can put you at the top. And so we are thanking Brother Clark for joining us on tonight to share his testimony of how the Lord has blessed him, from meeting people in restaurants and sharing ideas, to bringing you to have your own office, have people that you are responsible for, to make sure that they get a paycheck month after month. Now the Lord has blessed you to be an author. You have a book. I want to, as we go down to the last quarter or last half of this testimony time, I want to kind of shift gear, because people have been asking me, they need some advice. They thought you're coming here to talk about the money, so we can't allow you to go without talking about the money. Okay. One of the things, that story that you shared with me, and this was one of the first time you shared with me the story about you went to the school and you saw all the people were wearing the Jordans. They were wearing the Jordans. That story, walk us through what you share with those, because there's a young person out there who need to hear some of these stories that you've been sharing with me. And again, I want to thank you for being my financial advisor.
Praise God. Praise God. But you know what? So let's talk about the Jordans. Actually, before I do it real quick, Pastor, there's no way I could complete this testimony without mentioning my mother as well. I have to, because she actually probably was a loan, a gift. Probably was a gift. She didn't think I could pay her back. But when I did leave MetLife, she loaned me $3,000 to get my first office and things together. So that helped out a lot too, and she has received a great return on her investment.
Wow!
But there's no way I could get off here without saying that.
Wow. But thank God for mothers.
I know, man. I know. But yeah, so the Jordans. So the first pair of Jordans, guys. Let me see. I want to say 84, 83. You have to fact check me on that. But anyway, when the very first pair of Jordans was sold, you could. That pair of Jordans cost $65, which was a lot of money back in the early 80s for a pair of shoes. You buy tennis shoes back then, $15, $20. That was a lot of money. But had someone instead of taking the $65 to buy a pair of shoes, which if you wore them, they're now worthless. Had you taken that same money and bought ownership in the company, you bought shares of stock in the company that made the shoes, today that'd be worth over about $38,000, $39,000. $65. So I say that to say this: it is time, and that's one of the good things that came out of 2020. Not much good happened in 2020, but one of the good things that did happen, more people became interested in investing. So if I could give you any financial tip today, one of them would be, own the companies you do business with. If you like wearing Nikes, buy some shares of Nike. If you go to Target, buy Target. If you pop in and out of Family Dollar a couple of times a week, Dollar General, buy some stock in that company. Walmart, buy stock in that company. It's time for us to be the producers and not just the consumers. So we need to own the business, the businesses, the companies that we do business with. But yeah, man. So that's the deal with Nike. I'll share one more with you. I was out at the BET Awards. This was last year, obviously again before COVID, and I was able to hear Magic Johnson speak. And they asked Magic Johnson. He wasn't there because of basketball. He was there because of his business acumen and things like that. But I remember someone from the audience asked him. They said, "What would you say the biggest business regret or the biggest regret you have in business?" And he shared this. He said when he first got into the league, he was offered 3 different shoe companies approached him about a shoe deal. And one was Adidas. Adidas came with a little money. He wasn't really familiar with that. Adidas wasn't really that hot to him. And then he said Converse approached him, and Converse offered him the most money. And at that time, his idol was Dr. J, and Dr. J wore Converse. And then there was his other company that offered him just a little money, but they offered him some stock as well. He said for him, it was hands down. He said, "I'm going with Converse. Dr. J wears Converse, and they're giving me the most money." Well, the other company was Nike, and they offered him that stock. And he said he didn't know what the stock was, but had he taken time to learn, he said the amount of stock they were offering him, he would today be a billionaire. But he just did not know. So he said that's one of the biggest regrets he's had is taking the cash over the stock. So I just want to leave you guys with that: investing, learning the game of investing. And I'll say this real quick, because Pastor had a lot of people say, "Oh, that's like gambling." No, it's not gambling. Trading is more closely related to gambling. But if you want to own a piece of a company that's a legitimate company that's making money, that's you believe in their product, you believe in their service, and you want to own that, that's not in any way related to gambling. Even the Bible encourages us to be investors. But yeah, I just wanted to clear that up in case anybody had that misconception.
Wow. There are people out there, and I've been there. And again, I thank you for walking my family through this process. There are people out there who are saying, I don't have any money. I don't have any money. I'm living from paycheck to paycheck. But I want something better for myself. Walk us through of what it takes to make that first step.
Great. Well, I would say this. Obviously, it does take money to get started investing. If you know that your money is a little tight or very tight, okay, so look at it like this. Just take a piece of paper, write money at the top, draw a line down the middle, put on one side, on the left side, the amount of money that comes in, and on the right side, everything where money's going out. Okay, so on the left side, that's your income column. Your right side, those are your expenses. So what I want you to do, if you say, you know what, I would love to get started doing this, but money's always tight, I want you to analyze that right side, all those expenses, and see what can either be eliminated or reduced. Because I'm going to tell you this, it does not matter how much money is on the left side of the paper. I don't care if it's $1,000 a month, 10,000, 100,000 a month. It does not matter. If you never learn to manage the other side of the paper, that side is irrelevant. All right.
Wow.
And let me share this, guys. The average NBA player is dead broke 4 years after they take their last shot. Why is that? It makes no sense. It's because they never learned to manage the right side of the paper. All right. So again, my starting point, Pastor Howard asked me, where would you get started? I want you to start on being a master of managing your expenses. Money is mental. You gotta bring that money under subjection. You gotta tell your money where to go, because left alone is going to find crazy places to go. So once you become good at that, then you can focus on saving. Then when you graduate from saving to investing and things like that. So, but for the person whose money's tight, start with managing that expense side. And then if you say, Reggie, I've squeezed this thing 6 ways from Sunday, there's no more squeezing to be done. Then we have to figure out a way to increase the other side. All right. But for the average person that's employed and you're making a good wage, living wage, there's usually some fluff over there that we can tighten up on.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you, even past that, I'm gonna tell you what me and Ebony do. Every 6 months or so, we start looking at what crazy subscription have we signed up for. I remember one time we had Hulu, Netflix, cable, Sling, all this. I'm like, we don't need all that. $4.99, $7.99. Those little things start to add up. Eating out 3, 4, 5 times a week, that stuff's adding up. So again, tightening that stuff up. Now all of a sudden you got some money to invest with. So that's your starting point. Is actually on the expense side. Mm-hmm.
And if I can share, one of the things that you advised my family on, it was like, you have you said about the income, and then you have the expense. But on the income side, there's sometimes somebody slip you $20. That's not in the income side. So that's something that you can put aside to do that.
There you go. There you go. You find yourself, money that you didn't know was coming in or what have you. And this is something I even teach this at the office, not to the clients. I teach my own staff this. Guys, become systematic in your saving. And also think in terms of percentages. The Bible deals with us tithe. That's 10%. If you go to get a home, you got to do a DT. Your DTI got to be right. Debt to income ratio. That's a percentage. So what I teach you is save a percentage or invest a percentage of your money. Whether it's 1%, I don't care if it's 1%, 5, 10, 25, whatever it is. Just make a commitment to yourself that you're going to do it on a percentage basis, and you're going to do it every, very systematic. And like Pastor Hyde said, somebody slip you some money, hey, don't spend all of it. You don't have to save it all and invest it all. Why not save, whatever your percentage is, and then, spend the rest. So, because I'm not one of those advisors going to tell you to hoard every dollar, don't go on vacation, or no. To me, that's not living. I want to occupy till he comes. So we got to live now, but we also, and my mother taught me this. She said, plan every day. No, plan like you're going to live forever, but live every day like it's your last. So
wow.
I've always remembered that.
Wow, man, this is awesome. For those of you who are just joining us, this is the testimony broadcast with the Bible Patrolman. We do this once a month, the first Thursday of every month. We are on this platform, Facebook Live, and we're on YouTube Live, and we bring on individuals who can share their testimony with us. And tonight is no different. We have Mr. Reginald Clark from P3 Financial Service, and he is here sharing his testimony, how he has come from basically from the bottom, and now the Lord has blessed him to be at the top. Brother Clark, Reginald, share with individuals how they can get in touch with you. If somebody out there is listening tonight and they says, this is 2021 and I need some advice on financial thing, how can they get in touch with you?
Sure. Well, let me give the office number first. It's 901-209-4015. Again, it's 901-209-4015. If you're on Facebook, you can certainly shoot me an inbox, or you can also reach out via our website. The company website is www.p as in Paul, the number 3, financialgroup.com, p3financialgroup.com. Any of those ways, man, I'd be glad to connect with you. Doesn't cost you anything to have a conversation, just to see where you are and what you want to make happen. So we'll be glad to just meet with you and have a conversation.
Wonderful. Thank you. And they can get the book. The book is out there.
Yeah, that's right.
The book is out there. Walmart, anywhere where books are sold, they can find your book. And tell us the name of the book again.
The book is Don't Take That Cheese.
Don't take that cheese. All right. Don't take that cheese. Before I let you go, I want, because so many times we focus on adults, we focus on adults, and I know that you and your wife, you had started something with kids, because one of the things for me that got me into this, I love saving. Sometimes they say I save too much, but I love saving. And how this happened, when I was in elementary school, the school had a problem with the bank, and the bank would come to the school on a particular day, and when they come, we would put in 25 cents in that, and then the next, whatever you have on that day, you can put it. And so from that point, I was into saving, because I like to see that money building up. And so that, but I want you to talk to us about what you and your wife does for kids.
Absolutely. So we have a program that we do. We it can be taught at as early as elementary, middle school, high school, even early adults. And it's the same program, but we just kind of switch up the verbiage to make it age appropriate. But we teach kids about the basic savings, but mainly about investing and stock ownership. And we do it in a very interactive format to keep them engaged, just to really get them excited and introduced to the world of investing. But and here's some things that I would. So that's what we do. But let me give you something that you can do. Don't be afraid to allow the kids into the money conversations of the house. Kids have to learn, man. And I look back, I was thinking back, and again, it's kind of go back to the testimony story. I remember Pastor had one time, Ebony and I, coincidentally, we were leaving church, ran out of gas in Shelby Farms, and we had to help my oldest daughter, she had to help us look for gas money. This is going back to the lean times, the really lean times. But so anyway, don't be afraid to involve your kids in the money conversations. They need to learn early, when things are good, when things are not so good. So that definitely helps. And because what you're doing, you're helping to shape their mind around money. So we teach that program, but there's a lot of things that even for Thanksgiving, we put a video out to kind of encourage families to have some money conversations around the table Thanksgiving time. So it's just time, Pastor Hyde, as a people, as a family, that we start having conversations that, way back when you just didn't involve the whole family in that stuff. Yeah. But we need to do it.
Wonderful. And I say again, that's something that I've learned, and my wife and I, we involve our son from early age.
Yeah.
From early age. One of the things, that we did, we told our son from early age, every money that you get, first you have to give God.
Absolutely.
Then after, you have to give yourself. You return to God, because he says, tithes and offering. So you have to do that. Then the third thing you have to do is to give yourself. And so what, one of the things, and these principles, when I talked to you, I heard about these principles too, that you would, is that every money that he gave himself, guess what? I would double it. And so, every money that he gave himself, I would double it and give it to him. But I wouldn't give it to him until he got 18.
Yeah.
Because when he got to 18, then he's on his own. He can do whatever he wants to do with it. Man, you should have seen his eyes when he got to 18.
Oh, wow.
And I said to him, this is the money that you've been putting aside. And so it may be a little that you have to tell your kids, just start them off young. And up to this day, I mean, he probably have more money than me now. But I want to thank people like you that I can go to, and I can talk to. Sometimes you go to advisor, but when you have a Christian brother, and I want to plug that in there, when you have a Christian brother that you can go to, and you don't think that they're trying to get over on you,
right?
I thank God for people like you and your wife, that are there to encourage us. But one thing that I want to ask, and we are running out of time, is that if somebody wants you to now, we're in this COVID thing, you can't
Mhm.
travel and do seminar, but are you available to do seminars, wherever somebody may want you to come to do seminars?
Absolutely. Well, what we would do is I'll do it as a webinar. So if a person got a group, whether that's a church group, family, what have you, we can set up as a webinar. And I can give you the same information I would give you as if I was standing in the room with you. So yeah, I use Zoom daily. So yeah, be glad to do a webinar for you and your group. Could be your church members, could be your coworkers, family. You set it up, we'll knock it out.
And we want to say we know that some people are listening, and that you were giving all the names of those streets and everything, and people like, where's those streets? I want to tell them that brother Reginald Clark is located in Memphis, Tennessee, and
Mhm.
so when you change, you gave us your number, but you say you're changing office now because God has blessed you
Yeah,
to increase space, and so you
yeah.
are changing. So we will get that new location where you're going to be, and so but the people have your phone number. Give them your phone number again one more time.
Okay, it's 901-209-4015. 901-209-4015.
Okay, and I know our producer, he probably going to put it in the inbox down there in the chat, and so that you can get it and go back and listen. We want to thank you. We want to thank you, Brother Clark, for joining us on today. It's a wealth of knowledge. You have testified how God has brought you from the bottom. Now he is putting, and you're still growing. You're still
Yeah,
growing. I
absolutely.
thank God for that, and we pray God's speed upon you as you continue to plan, prosper, and protect. And we
Thank
know,
you so much, Pastor.
yeah, God will continue to take care of you. And again, this is a brother Clark, Reginald Clark of P3 Financial. We're gonna plan, protect, and prosper as we move. All right. Thank you again for
Yeah.
joining us. And for those of you who are listening, the number is down there. You can get the number and call Brother Clark. He will be willing to talk to you and give you some advice. He's not going to stray you, turn you wrong. Oh, I know, because he has done that for me and my family. Again, we thank you. Give my love to your family.
Do the same, Pastor. It's been great sharing with you. God bless you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Oh, friends, I want to tell you again, the next time we'll be here is in February, the first Thursday in February. We will be back on this line. Make sure you subscribe. Hit that subscribe button there on YouTube. Friend me on Facebook there, so you can tune in and know that we're going to be live on Facebook the first Thursday of every month. We have a wealth of knowledge that people are sharing, information how God has blessed them. And today was no different with Brother Clark. Until next month, may God bless you.